What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Mafia Podcast, NBA Edition. Today we are talking about our all NBA teams. My name is Jordan Jica, aka Dr. Fantasy, and I am here with my co-host, the Fantasy Caveman, and we will not leave you waiting. We will hop right into it. So we'll go all NBA first team, and I'll let you kick it off. Why don't you go through your five, and we'll go back and forth.
Okay. So my NBA All NBA first team. Bit of a surprise here. Um, as you know, I'm big on the Houston Rockets, but I didn't have James Harden in my All NBA first team. I went Luka Doncic, kind of self-explanatory. The year he's having, a no-brainer. And I went Damian Lillard. He just year after year, he just continues to impress me. And he has, especially when you're talking about guys that have a killer instinct and a knack for hitting shots at the right time, he's one of those guys, And I think he's that dude. He's that good. That dude. For me, it's a shame. I personally don't think Lillard's ever gonna win an A championship. Portland's not. I understand how he's loyal to his team. That's admirable, but Portland's never going to be in a position to win a championship, in my opinion. But then I went.
That's an interesting point. I just want to say something about that quick. I mean, I respect that as well from him. I mean, I think they need to bring in another piece similar to like when Kyrie and Durant went to Brooklyn. I think Lillard would need another superstar like that to win. But I love Damian too, and he could go down as one of the best players in NBA history to not win a championship if he keeps going down this road.
I'm not going to go there. You brought up players not winning an NBA championship. No.
I'll talk about that in a second.
No, in my mind, who I'm thinking of. You know this. So I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to let you know that I thought of him. And then forward, I went LeBron and Giannis. Again, we just got talking about Giannis in our last event when we went over our award winners. Kind of self-explanatory there. And it's the same with LeBron. He's been so good for so long. It's really frustrating. I wish he would decline already as a player.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. And then Anthony Davis around it. Again, there's not real much debate. To me, I'm not sure how you went, but for me, the only thing I could see change. Only date I have is that maybe you can switch up the guards a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's first team right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised, honestly. I thought the first team was pretty easy, and we already differ on it. So I'm a little surprised. I'm pretty confident that mine's going to be 100% right. I'm going to lay that out there.
All right.
I have Giannis, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. Not much to talk about. I mean, Giannis, we both have as our MVP. LeBron is a top 3 candidate. Anthony Davis, one of the best big men in the game. I have Luka as well, who I said was my second candidate to win MVP, and he'll have his chance here soon. But yeah, I mean, I have James Harden instead of Lillard, which you were surprised when I told you that before we started. And as much as I hate the Rockets and James Harden and Russell Westbrook. And it's kind of funny. I laughed when Russell Westbrook went to the Rockets because I hated James Harden and the Rockets, but not them. I don't think that they're a winning team. And I hated them before. And then I hated Russell Westbrook, and then they came together. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like one of my nightmares. I mean, I won't say they're not talented players. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I don't think that they have the kind of gameplay where either one of them's ever going to win a championship. James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I think that they're there for the numbers. And in this case, we're talking about numbers. So, I mean, James Harden is still one of the most dominant offensive players in the game. Probably the most dominant, well, definitely the most dominant scoring guard right now. So it's hard for me to leave him off that list. He leads the NBA in scoring with over 34 points a game, and it makes it really hard for me to leave the one of the best offensive players and the league leader in points off of my first team. So as much as his defensive game, I don't think will ever lead to him winning a championship unless he magically learns how to play defense overnight. I just can't leave him off my list because of his scoring. So.
You never know. It could happen.
We'll go into the second one then. So, who do you have for your second team?
Okay, so my second team is obviously James Harden. I left him off first team. I know he leads the league in scoring, but I just think Lillard is that special and is that dude. Especially this year being no different. But yeah, obviously, so James Harden. Then at third guard, I went Bradley Beal, the Wizards. Kind of self-expected. No John Wall pretty much all year. I think it's been better helps Beal's case more because I personally don't think John Wall and Bradley Beal work well together at all. The Wizards are never going to be any good with them two in the backcourt, sharing the backcourt. I think the numbers Beal's been able to put up without John Wall is easily puts him in an All NBA team conversation. They're one of those teams they're in the hunt for the playoffs. With how they reseeded and how they went out, so that'll be interesting to watch there. Then I went Jason Tatum at the first forward spot, and that's he's been that dude this year for Boston. He's a special kid. I know you talked about it with Luka with future MVP possibility. I think Jason Tatum also has it in him in the future to win multiple MVP awards. I think, in my opinion, I think he's that special. He's had a year this year. And then I went Pascal Siakam of the Raptors. He's a guy I know that I'm very high on Pascal Siakam. He's just one of those guys where you didn't know how the Raptors were going to be this year once Kawhi left. Was really one of the biggest question marks in my opinion coming into the season is how were the Raptors going to do with Kawhi, and I think Siakam has been one of he stepped up and been one of the driving forces of that team, and he's having a great year. And at the center position, I went Nikola Jokic of the Nuggets, and again with Jokic, he's a special big. He has a skill set that you don't see out of many big men these days.
Yep.
And he's leading that Denver team. And this could be another debate, who I personally think is a bit overrated.
Ooh.
But that's something that we could debate another time, possibly. But yeah, I think there's no denying his talent. He's obviously one of those special guys.
Yeah. So I mean, we're pretty similar then. I have Jokic as well as my center. I mean, you already mentioned he's probably the most talented center in the NBA, just as far as his overall gameplay. I mean, Anthony Davis is probably more well-rounded, or not well-rounded. I mean, he's probably the better overall player, but Jokic, just in terms of passing, rebounding, defense, I mean, he kind of does it all compared to Anthony Davis. So I almost put Anthony Davis on the second, but I couldn't do that in good faith.
Same here.
Forwards, I have Siakam as well. I mean, I already said that the Raptors are going back to back. I said that in our last series, which I don't think many people are going to have them going back to back. But I mean, he's been the focal point of that team. I mean, they're the second seed in the East right now, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, and I'm interested to see where he goes in his career. He kind of came out of nowhere during their run last year, and he just keeps getting better. So I'm really excited to see where he keeps going. My other forward is Kawhi. I mean, I love Kawhi. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA. I'm a Spurs fan. I grew up a Spurs fan, and I've just always loved how humble he is. I love his game. I've mentioned
You
several
love
times.
defense.
Yeah, I mean, I love players that play hard-nosed defense. I mean, he's probably, I would say, the best on-ball defender in the NBA. I mean, if you need to pick one guy to lock one player down, I mean, I'd probably pick Kawhi. There's other guys I'd consider, but I'd probably pick Kawhi. So, I mean, not to mention, we're talking all this. He's a great three-point shooter. He's probably a top 15 offensive force in the game. So, I'm a big fan of Kawhi. The Clippers are the 2 seed in the West right now, which doesn't hurt. My guards are Lillard and Beal. You already talked about Lillard a little bit, but the Trailblazers are right in playoff contention right now. Only reason that I have James Harden ahead of him, and like I said, he's the NBA's leading scorer, and just his offensive talent. I can't deny Harden's offensive ability. And then I also have Bradley Beal, who I think is one of the most disrespected players this season.
Yep.
He's second in the NBA in points this year. He's averaging over 30 points a game, and he did not make the All-Star team, which is absolute insanity. Probably one of the biggest snubs, I think. I don't know. It might be the biggest snub I've ever seen in recent memory. And the Wizards, they're better than people think. And they got invited back to play the last 8 games of the season, so they're close enough to playoff contention where they have a chance to make it. Very outside chance. I don't think that they're going to make it, but they
obviously have a. This is the thing with as we talked about the restart last time, but this is going to be very interesting. Who knows how these teams are going to be affected by this whole thing? We don't know. We don't know what happens. It's very unpredictable, which is going to be very exciting to watch, in my opinion, how all these teams are affected. The team like the Wizards could very easily end up with 4 games for that last spot, and then who knows? We talked about this before, but on paper, if you match up the Orlando Magic and you match up the Washington Wizards, you can easily see Wizards. I mean, it's hard to win 2 in a row against anybody, but I could see the Wizards beating Orlando 2 games in a row. It's possible, and if they do, 95% chance it's because Bradley Beal went off. So, like I said, there's no denying Beal, and how he got snubbed in the All-Star game is beyond me, and that kind of it's mind-blowing.
So, all right, who do you have? I went through all mine. Yep, I mentioned everybody. Okay. Who do you have for your third team?
Okay, this is where I think, I don't know, maybe we have a little debate here.
We'll see.
But at the guards, I went with the boy from the Houston Rockets, Russell Westbrook. I'm sure you want me to talk about him that much, but the Rockets are having a great season. There's no denying that. And if people not, I personally think Russell Westbrook plays. He's not a horrible defender, in my opinion, at all. He's not great. He's not great.
Like, do you want to debate that right now?
But he's not a bad defender. He tries.
All right.
Okay.
He can steal the ball.
Similar to another guy that from Nest.
Oh yeah. I mean, moving on.
Okay, moving on. That other guard position, I went Trae Young, the Atlanta Hawks. He's a guy that he just scores like he just chucks and he shoots it, and he might not be the most efficient, but hell, he can make shit. And I'm gonna bring him up since we're talking about Trae Young, but another guy who I hope we talk about at some point in this upcoming draft who reminds me a lot of Trae Young is Marcus Howard.
Oh, that's so.
I brought him up. So.
You said I was crazy when I compared him to Trae Young.
But I've been thinking about it and I see it. Maybe not to the level. Maybe not to the level of Trae, but I can see what you are thinking. But yeah, going back to Trae Young, he's that. I mean, not Atlanta is awful, especially on the defensive end there. So they don't play any defense. They probably, I don't know if you think this, but they're on defense in the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
And I think you would agree, and you hate the Houston Rockets, and I think even you would agree that Atlanta plays worse defense than the Rockets.
I think they allowed the most points in the NBA this season, so yeah it's hard to argue with that.
They're great offensively. And another name, it sucks that he got suspended, but I think John Collins probably would have been on these teams somewhere had stayed healthy.
That's going to be a fun team to watch. I mean, not a fun team, but I think the Trae Young, John Collins combo is going to be really fun.
Oh, yeah, totally. And at the first four spot, I have Kawhi Leonard on my own third team. And I think partly because it's the load management didn't really bother. Kawhi Leonard and in general, but there's no denying I can't leave him off. He's just that, like I said, he's excellent under. I don't like defense as much as you do. I'm more of a opposite. I love teams that can just score buckets and buckets and buckets like Houston Rockets can. But no deny Kawhi excellent from three as well. The Clippers are second in the West, like you mentioned, so you can't not have him on the list at all. The other core position I went his teammate Paul George. Mentioned there, but to me it's amazing that Paul George is recovered the way he did, especially from that nasty leg injury that he suffered a while back. I didn't think he'd be able to recover to the point where he could be an elite NBA player again, and that's exactly what he's been kind of silently, because I think he's been a tad overshadowed by Kawhi this year. But Paul George has put up, I don't have the exact numbers on hand, but he's put up a silent season this year for the Clippers. So he'd be my other forward. And then we talked about this guy when we did our awards, but I went Bam Adebayo as my center for the All-NBA team. I mean, I already mentioned it on our last show, but the season that Bam's been able to put together for the Miami Heat this year is just incredible to think where he was before to where he is now. I think he's that special. And Miami, he might be the biggest reason why I talked about this last time, why I think the Miami Heat are probably the biggest threat to Milwaukee, is mainly because of the force that Bam Adebayo is inside. Mm-hmm. So Bam, he'd be my center for the 13.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the Heat, they're a fun team. I mean, I would probably say they're the deepest team in the NBA. I mean, you've mentioned Kendrick Nunn before, Dragic. I mean, with Jimmy Butler now and Bam and Duncan Robinson. And, I mean, they have legitimately 10 good players, so they're fun to watch. I like watching them. So I've gone back and forth on some of mine here, and I'm still debating some of them kind of internally here. My guards are Russell Westbrook and Trae Young, so they're actually the same. I mean, to me, would I personally vote Russell Westbrook there? No, I would not. However, I'm trying to guess these correct. And I mean, it's a numbers game, this is. So, I mean, it's a popularity contest, and it's a game of looking at who has the best stats. And I'm not going to say, when you look at Russell Westbrook's stats, how can you deny that they're not good? I'm not going to say that his stats are poor. You look at the numbers, they're good. Trey Young's the same. What's that?
He's Mr. Triple Double.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then Trey Young, I mean, go ahead. Go ahead.
There was one player in the NBA last year that averaged a triple double for the season.
LeBron James.
Do you know who that was?
Who's done it? Like, what are you doing? 2 or 3 straight seasons?
I don't know. I don't think he is on pace. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna hit this year, but.
No, I think he's averaging like 9 and 9, so he really sucks this year.
Oh yeah, that's so bad. Okay, moving on. Who else you got?
Yeah, Trey Young, same thing. I mean, he's 4th in the league in points just based on his offensive ability. He also does, I think he's averaging 7 or so assists this year as well. So, I mean, he also he can be a playmaker. He's similar to, I mean, I'd put him in that James Harden category. I mean, I think Trey Young's going to have some seasons where he's averaging over 30 points a game, lots of assists, absolutely no defense. I mean, there's a common theme there. So, and Trey Young will never win an NBA championship either.
Well, to me, that's way too early to say for Trey Young.
I don't care. How old is he? 22, probably?
You don't know if he's going to stick with Atlanta.
I don't care, honest. I just think that Trey Young is he's 21, actually. Trey Young is the kind of player, no matter where he goes, he's going to want to be the alpha dog. And if Trey Young is your alpha dog, you are not going to win an NBA championship. It's the same way. It's like Allen Iverson. I mean, you're never going to win an NBA champion.
I was nice enough. He could have brought up several times. I could have said his name several times, but I didn't. I left his name out of it.
Well, you
brought it up just to say something bad about him.
I did want to say something bad about him. Do you want to say something good about him? Say something good about him now to just make up for it.
I'm off guard here. He's the greatest little man ever played.
Okay. And now my forwards. Well, I'll mention quickly a few other guards that I considered. I wasn't really going to put them above either Trey Young or Russell Westbrook, but other guys, if there was a 4th team, it'd probably be Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker. Once again, 2 pretty offensively strong guys. Defense is a little suspect, but I think that they'll be contenders in the future to make it onto one of these teams. My forwards are, I keep going back and forth. The one's definitely Jason Tatum. You got to include him on there. Celtics are one of the best teams in the East. He's the best player on there. He's shown a ton of improvement. I suspect someday you're going to see him on the All-NBA first team, no doubt. I think he's just going to keep getting better and better, and I really like his game.
It could be next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's right there. I mean, it's hard to knock any of those guys down right now, maybe if LeBron slips a little bit, we'll see Tatum there. But the other forward, I keep going back and forth on. I mean, so technically, Karl Anthony Towns, you can put him at forward. I love Karl Anthony Towns, his offensive game. He's another guy. His defense, we won't talk about that. But he only played 35 games, though, so that's why I'm struggling with it. You put Paul George on there. Paul George played 42, so a little more. But that's my only. I keep going back and forth. But so I'm gonna go with another guy. I'm gonna go Jimmy Butler. Actually, I think Jimmy Butler is one of the most underrated players in the league. He plays a hard-nosed style, great defense. He's averaging 6 points and 6 assists this year, so respectable numbers there. He has decent steal numbers, averaging over 20 points a game, leading a Heat team that's in the thick of the Eastern playoff race. So I like Jimmy Butler. I'm going to stick him there just because he's played more games. And if we had a full season, Karl Anthony Towns probably would have ended up playing like 65 or so games. Then I would have definitely put him here. But I'm gonna throw Jimmy Butler in there. And then my center, Bam's a good one. Bam will probably be my 4th team guy. I went with Joel Embiid. One of the best defensive centers in the game, averaging over 20 points, right around 10 rebounds. I think when I checked this morning, he was 10th in defensive efficiency. So when you look at a well-rounded, and as much as I mean, he's kind of funny. I don't know if I have a strong opinion on Joel Embiid. His smack talk makes me laugh. So, there was an all NBA smack talk team, he would be on the first team. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just think I think he's well rounded. He averaged more points than Bam. Bam averaged more assists. Embiid had a much higher efficiency rating. You could make the argument both ways, but I think overall he's a little more well rounded at this point in terms of his numbers. Bam's definitely a better playmaker in terms of assists, but I think Embiid, his numbers right now overall are better.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. And especially when you get out into especially All NBA third team, there's a bunch of guys
Yeah.
kind of together. And another guard I would like to mention, uh, wish he would play a little more, but CJ McCollum could have been an interesting name. He's part of the reason. Unfortunately, he's part of the reason why I don't think Portland's ever gonna win a championship. I just don't think that combination is enough to overtake some other teams. But I think it's my hometown is gonna come out a bit with this one.
Oh God.
I think another.
I'm not listening.
Yes, you are. Another name who I didn't really consider, but I thought deserved to be in the conversation would be Chris Middleton. He's quietly having. And he was an all star. He's quietly having a really good season for the best record in the league. And when you have a team at the best record, league, obviously you look at Giannis. But then naturally you think, okay, after Giannis, who's the second best guy on that team? And it was Chris Middleton. He had averaging, I think averaging about averaging 20 a game. Shot around 40% from three, I believe. All the exact numbers this year. Yeah, so he shot 50% from the field, 42% from three. So I just think if you're thinking of numbers, like if we get into that All NBA third team, I think. Although I don't think he obviously over my picks of Westbrook and Young, like obviously he doesn't. Obviously he's not going to compete with those guys, but you could possibly. He also play him at forward. You know, put Middleton at the forward spot. So I think that would be an easier path for him to get in my opinion, at that forward spot. I considered him for a brief moment over Paul George, and I thought to myself, I can't let my bias show.
There's a few guys that I considered as well for the NBA third team. If there was an NBA fourth team, they're guys that probably would have made it. And I guess a few honorable mentions, we'll call them. One was my most improved player, Brandon Ingram. He averaged the 13th most points in the NBA. You could argue that he could have a forward spot in that third team. I probably wouldn't put him there, but you could argue that he deserves it. Another guy that's just more of an offensive force is Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls. He actually, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but he's 12th in the entire NBA in points scored. So he's averaging 25.5 points. Once again, not a very strong defender, but super athletic. He made huge strides this year. A guy maybe you could argue that could win Most Improved Player of the Year as well. So he was a guy that you can consider at the guard spot. I know a lot of people are talking Kemba Walker at one of those spots. People love Kemba. I just can't put him ahead of any of those other guards. Kemba has great numbers, but I
think Westbrook and Trae Young for me have a very strong stranglehold on those two 13 guard spots.
Yeah, I agree. The only other center that I really considered, and I actually almost put him, but I was like, nah, I won't, was Hassan Whiteside from the Trailblazers. He was top 10 in defensive efficiency. And overall player efficiency, he was 9th overall. So he plays, I mean, he's one of the best defensive centers in the league. Blocked a ton of shots this year. What is he averaging? 15 rebounds a game this year, something crazy like that. So, yeah, he's put up big defensive numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck in there, but there's a lot of strong centers ahead of him. So it's once again one of those, like, I wanted to put him in there. I couldn't really put him ahead of Embiid or even Bam, really. You know, he might be your NBA fifth team center if there's a fifth team.
And even then, there's like you can keep going down to like
Andre Drummond, Rudy Gobert.
No, nobody wants Rudy Gobert anymore. That guy's gonna be nobody wants him anymore.
What, you have a problem because he had Corona?
Yep. Nobody trusts him anymore.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't, honestly. But any other points you want to make before we wrap up here?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. So we appreciate everybody watching today. We'll have some other episodes coming up in the next few weeks here, leading up to the NBA season, which is really exciting, right around the corner. It's going to be about a month away here, so I'm looking forward to it. Just really looking forward to any live sports. So once again, this is the Fantasy Mafia podcast. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and check out all our articles at thefantasymafia.com. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.